Uganda is one of the most entrepreneurial countries in the world, with over 35% of the population being involved in some business-making venture, right? But so many of these businesses are started, but they do not even get to make their first birthday. Now, there's so many reasons why they don't reach the first year mark, but one of them, and what we're going to look at today's episode, is the bookkeeping. Why do so many businesses struggle with keeping their records? Why do they struggle with doing the accounting? Why do they struggle with finding investment options? And why do they struggle with funding? Today's guest is working towards changing the narrative for African businesses and making sure that their journey to finding funding is much smoother, it's more effective, it's much faster. Join us as we sit down with the CEO, the co-CEO of Lupiiya Books in today's special episode of Wants to Watch.
Hi Priska, thank you so much for having me.
It's great to have you on the Taxman TV.
Both excited and nervous to be here.
Oh, come on, don't be nervous. We are not so bad.
If I don't get audited, then I'll be happy. Otherwise, hanging out with the taxman is not always a good thing. But we'll see. I'm excited to have a meaningful conversation with you.
Yeah. We're excited, and I'm sure our viewers are also excited. So, Julius, when you're in school, and then they would tell you, when you go to the exam room, make sure you start with your easy questions.
Build up some speed.
Exactly.
And momentum as you go into the hard questions. Section B.
Not today. Today, okay. I mean, that's adulting for you. We're going to start with the hard stuff.
Okay.
And make our way to the simple stuff.
Okay. So, all right. I think I'm ready.
You ready?
Depends on how hard the hard stuff is, but I think I'm ready. Yeah.
Okay. I'll fire away. Who is Julius Kakwenzire?
I think that's the hardest question of them all. Because I consider myself a very self-aware person, and with that regard, I'm also very aware of how little I know about myself, right? So every day I'm constantly discovering who I am. But let me not cop out of the question. Let me see if I could put myself in a paragraph. Well, obviously, I'm a very socially conscious entrepreneur. I've never wanted to do business just to make money, right? And I know that seems, it almost seems like, like corporate doublespeak or something.
Like PR.
Yeah, it seems like a PR stunt, but it's really not.
Yeah.
I've always been attracted to the impact value of business, right? How you could create a business and that business could change people's lives. That business could impact the community that you're in. And that's always been what drew me to business, right? My philosophy has always been that if you achieve that, if you can achieve a business that can bring real impact to your community, specifically your community, you will get money, right? Money will end up being the almost unintentional byproduct of the impact that you have, right? Okay. So that's me as an entrepreneur. Me as a human being, I'd say I'm very laid back. I'm intense when I'm working, but when I'm not working, I like to be laid back. I'm an Arsenal fan, for better or worse. I'm a big fan of sports in general. I'm going to watch Formula One. I'm going to watch tennis. Really, you put a sport on the TV or tell me, let's go watch sports. It doesn't matter if...
I can say you're a big fan of watching and not participating.
I also play a bit, but rugby injuries and what means, I'm not as active as I used to be.
Okay.
I'm a professional spectator, I think.
I like that. I'm stealing that.
Yeah, okay. You
okay, so let's talk a little bit more about Julius, the entrepreneur.
Okay.
You said you like, to be part of projects or build businesses that are socially aware and, you're solving a problem, right?
Yes.
With your company, your startup right now, Lupiiya Wallet.
Yes. With the product Lupiiya Books, right?
With the product.
So Lupiiya Wallet product is Lupiiya Books.
You know what? Let's start from that. Just educate me. What does Lupiiya Wallet do?
Right. So Lupiiya Wallet, I started Lupiiya Wallet after I came back from the US. I did my university in the US. studied finance and accounting. And Lupiiya Wallet was supposed to be a fintech solutions company that was designed to bridge the gap, like going to school in the first world, and then even maybe, I don't know if South Africa counts also, because I did my A-level in South Africa, then my university in the US, and just going, and I was still doing business and accounting and finance in all of these environments, and just looking at how they handle money, just looking at how they fundraise, how companies optimize to be investable, to be lendable, and looking at that gap between how they do it and how we do it here. I realized that there's a reason why they're the first world and we're the third world. It's not that they're white and we're black or anything like that. It's that these people have invested in infrastructure, native infrastructure, to help you get from point A as an entrepreneur. So conceiving of your idea, right, to launching your company, getting the funding that you need, right? Because here in Uganda, if you need to start a business, what you usually have to do is use your own money.
Yeah, use your
right?
savings.
Yeah, use your savings. Maybe go get a very, very, very high interest loan from a bank, which, you should never start a company with that, like Business 101. So it's why most of our businesses fail in the small business stage, right? They never get to grow. They never get to employ the number of employees that they could. And as a result, they also never get to pay URA the taxes that URA could be collecting if these companies grew to their full potential. So we were trying to figure out, okay, how can we innovate financial technology, right, that learns from what the West is doing and what the first world is doing without necessarily imitating that, right? How do we build onto the existing native financial culture, for instance, right? And we'll talk more about that, because essentially that's what Lupiiya Books is. Lupiiya Books we've spent 10 years building it, by the way.
10 years?
10 years, yeah, almost 10 years.
Oh, wow.
Let me not exaggerate. So, yeah, eight and a half. But the idea began while I was in the US. So if you also count that, then it's 10 years.
10 years.
So how do we, because we could have come and said, Uganda has no financial systems, no native financial infrastructure. Yet that wouldn't really be true, right?
Yeah,
if tomorrow I'm getting married, I wouldn't maybe have to contribute even 10% of the amount of money that's going to get me married. That's going to come from my friends, family, my fiance's friends and her family, work community, right? So we do have native financial...
of sorts.
Yes, exactly, right? The Ubuntu principle that we operate on here. I see so many medical campaigns on Twitter, formerly Twitter. Someone needs surgery in India, someone needs surgery in Malaysia, and their friends, their community, the people who know them, well-wishers, come together and fundraise hundreds of millions sometimes to get someone's surgery. Like you would be very obtuse to ignore such infrastructure, right? So for us, our question was, how do we come in, regulate that, not just regulate it, but standardize it, give it the necessary infrastructure to make it a feasible funding option, not just for weddings and funerals and medical bills, but also for businesses and startups and
like more investment.
Exactly, right? Like how do we turn these donors into potential investors with their 50K, 100K, all of that. Yeah, so we're not trying, oftentimes when we've had these conversations, I'm sorry for going on, very passionate about my company, if that's not obvious. People try to give us credit, right, for, you guys are inventing social finance, right? Especially when we have conversations with Americans and Europeans. That's what they're trying to say. You guys are inventing social finance in Africa. And I'm always saying, no, we're not. Social finance is how Africa does business. Social finance is how things get done, how social events get done, how community things get done. We're just giving that the infrastructure that can get it recognized on a global stage as a meaningful, bona fide financing approach, right?
Okay.
Yeah, that's really it. So yeah, when we move to Lupiiya Books is just harnessing that, giving it infrastructure, giving it tools, and then also making it trackable, traceable, making it legitimate, right? Legitimizing it, and also demystifying finance. There's a lot of buzzwords if we were to go in that direction, but that's the gist of what it is.
The gist of what Lupiiya Books is. Yeah. Okay, so if I am watching this episode and I'm thinking, oh, okay, maybe I should get Lupiiya Books, right? Just explain to me, like you would maybe a 15-year-old, what are the benefits I stand to, get from being on your app?
Can I ask you a question before I answer that? I mean, you obviously have daily expenses. You obviously have a salary. How do you account for those things? And you work for URA, mind you, so your bosses are going to be watching. How do you account for that? Do you have like a spreadsheet in Excel? Do you have a notebook where you record? Do you request statements from mobile money? Do you request statements from your bank? How do you know how much money you're making every day and how much money you're spending every day?
Okay. So for making, definitely, that's like you get the bank statements. And
Right.
Tracking like my day-to-day expenses, I think I have like the worst financial discipline. I don't really track.
Right.
Yeah.
You just hope that you're making more than you're spending. Like that's what the average Ugandan does. Like, hey, I don't know how much I'm spending, but I'm just gonna keep trying to make more, right? So that at the end of the month, whatever is left, we can call that savings. Right?
I think I'm like a bit more responsible.
Do you save?
I do save, so I cut off all my savings.
And not NSSF?
No, actual
like
savings.
your actual personal savings?
Yes, I do save.
Right, okay. So what we're doing right now is actually we're talking about Lupiiya Books, right? Because the first thing that you do on Lupiiya Books, the first feature that you encounter is your daily expense and revenue tracking, right?
Nice.
And we've created a very easy to use interface which doesn't even use any accounting language, because in our testing we realized that Ugandans don't want to see that. They don't want to see credits and debits, and no one really understands what that means. So you just input how much you make and how much you're spending, right? Income and expenses. You don't even need to know the official label of your expense. You don't need to know what depreciation is. You don't need to know what working capital is. You just tell us how much you're making every day. Tell us how much you're spending, and give us as close as you can, like as the most accurate description of what that expense was, right? And if you have predictable expenses, those ones you don't even have to enter every day. You don't have to come and manually say, I bought fuel today for 30K. Then tomorrow I bought fuel for 30K. Then no. If it's predictable, then you can actually create a very basic budget, where now all you have to do is just click on that item and say, yep, I spent that today. So it's a very easy to use interface. Nice. But we're hoping that with that we'll be at least capturing about 70 to 80% of your actual daily revenues and expenses, right? Which will make it easier for you when you unlock other features of the app, right? So the next, the reason why I'm using words like unlock, and I was hoping not to have to say this until we've had the rest of the conversation. Our app is designed to almost feel like a game, right?
Ooh,
so one of the things that we've realized is that Ugandans hate accounting. Ugandans hate finance, right? You work for URA and you hate it, right? Not trying to get you fired.
No, it's okay. I'm on the comms team.
So how do we build a platform that people are not going to be excited about when they download and then 2 weeks later they don't remember it's on their phone, right? And then in a month when they need space for a new exciting app, yours is the one they delete,
the first to
right?
go, yeah.
And as an accounting and bookkeeping app, it would really be the first to go. Let's be honest, right?
That's true.
So we've designed it to almost feel like a game, right? So it's been built in levels, right? So level 1 is this bookkeeping function that we've been talking about, right?
Yeah.
If you do that consistently, get all the points that you need to get from that, you unlock level 2, which is now saving, right? Personal savings, right? And again, we've done a lot of research to figure out what works, right? Telling people to save ad hoc, like just save randomly, that doesn't work. People are usually better able to save when they're saving for a specific goal in mind, right? The new iPhone or a new car, moving out from home, right, from your parents' house, kids' tuition, like when there is a goal in mind. So we call it goal-oriented saving, right? So that's what we're doing with our savings. We know that the ideal should be that you should save even when you don't have a big ticket expense coming, right?
Yeah.
But to get there, you have to first learn to save for the big ticket items, right?
Okay.
So that's personal savings. So already those are two benefits, right? You have your daily bookkeeping, and I'll show you how that's important later in the app.
Okay.
And then you have personal savings. Then there's also the group savings, what we like to call circles here. That's now level 3, right? Once you've shown you can save alone, right? Then you can now save either with your friends or other people who you've just made a connection with on the app, right?
Okay.
So savings and bookkeeping, those are benefits within their, like by themselves. However,
they are.
we know that that's not enough, right? Why should I bookkeep on Lupiya Books versus in my Excel, on my laptop? Why should I save on Lupiya Books instead of, for instance, like
my bank,
yeah,
my work cycle.
right, yeah, exactly, right. We're doing all of this to make you more investable, to make you more lendable, to make you to make it possible for you to leverage your social network, your community, to raise money, right?
Okay.
Whether that's money for your business, money for your birthday, money for your wedding, money, whatever it is, right? We realize that it's so hard to get money, even from the bank. It's so hard to get money when you are, you're not keeping your records.
Records in order,
right?
yes.
Your business records, your personal financial records, right? You need those. Otherwise, what's the bank going to do? The bank is going to treat you like an unknown, right? The bank is going to treat you like a high-risk individual, right?
And even with your bookkeeping, we can sing that anthem, had enough.
Right.
That's important.
Right, but the issue is that we often try to say do bookkeeping for bookkeeping's sake, right? But no one's going to do that. Instead of telling people do your bookkeeping or URA will fine you or the government will, or you won't get a loan. That's now using more stick than carrot. Lupiya is trying to flip that narrative, right? Where instead of being afraid of the URA stick or being afraid of the bank stick on your back because you didn't do your bookkeeping, like let's show you what you could get from this, right? So the levels that come after the bookkeeping and the saving are now social campaigns, credit campaigns, equity campaigns, right? Social campaigns, those are the things we've been talking about. Getting married, birthday parties, like you can fundraise the way people already do with endless wedding meetings and stuff. Now you can just launch a campaign, right? And we have this very neat function. I was just talking to you about it before we started shooting. I can't come and send you a friend request on Lupiya Books. You can't send me a friend request, right? Because again, we've investigated how social financial relationships work, right? Priska, if you and I have been friends, let's say we've been friends for 5 years, right? and you come to me and you tell me, hey, I have a small issue, need 200K. Could you please give me a loan of 200K? And I give it to you, right? That means you have to pay that loan back, right? If you pay that loan back, my trust in you as a financial relation will grow, right? But then also, if I lend to you, that means when I need money,
I'll easily go to you.
right, I can come to you and tell you, hey, help me out with 100K, right? And then if you're a good person, you will reciprocate, right? So there's friendships that we have which are purely, fun and joy. Let's go to the bar, let's go out, let's go to the beach. Then there's friendships you have, there's friends you have in your contacts who you know. This person, I have a respect with this person, I have a good financial reputation with this person. If I need money,
I can go to them.
I can go to this person. We're trying to make Lupiya Books that space, right? Where you can create a connection or connections with people who you might not even know in real life. Okay? But I can put money in your campaign, create a connection with you, because that's the only way to create a connection with you. I can't friend request you. I have to come and see, oh, what's Priska up to? Oh, she's saving for a new car.
Then.
Yeah, let me put my 50K there.
So it's like you saw
And now we have a connection, right?
Yeah.
When I'm doing something, the app will notify you, hey, Julius Kakwenzire, who put 50,000 in your new car campaign last year, is doing this campaign. Reciprocate and grow your connection, right? And if you don't reciprocate, what happens in real life is also what happens on the app. In real life, if I put some money into your thing and when it's my turn, you're giving me stories and excuses, next time you need money, you're not going to come to me because you remember what you did when I needed money, right? Our relationship has gone down a level, right? Or it's now no longer existent. If I know that, oh, this person always comes to me when they need money, but when I need something,
it's like, am I...
Right? And it's not even that you have to put back what I put in. Just because I put 50K in yours doesn't mean you have to put 50K in mine. Put what you have, but put something, right?
Okay.
Because that's how social financial relationships actually operate in the real world. And with Lupiya Books, we're really trying to mirror society on the app, right? We're not, like I said, we're not trying to reinvent the wheel. We're not trying to invent social finance. It's already there. Just 10 years of studying it, and this app is what you get,
Okay. Would you say that if a partnership is to work, these people in it have to sort of like complement one another? You don't have to have the same skill set or be the same. It has to be complementary.
Yeah. Otherwise, you're being redundant, right? Like we're very good friends. We've been friends from Form 1, right? We both went to SMARC together. But if you're not willing to do that,
like, don't waste my time.
Yeah, don't waste my time,
Fair
right?
enough.
Yeah. So no one will put their time into something if you, the originator of the idea, the originator of the vision, are not willing to go all in.
Okay. And you've been partners for how long? I mean, you've been friends since S1, but the partnership, how long?
The partnership started in 2016. I came back to Uganda and I looked for him.
Oh.
Yeah, he was my first.
Why him?
Because we were in the same class.
The friendship.
No. We were in the same class at SMARC, and like in a school full of intelligent, brilliant kids, he still stood out, right? As very brilliant and very intelligent. And even before making the move back, he and I had stayed in touch, and there was this amazing thing he would do where I would go and learn finance, like, for instance, stock trading, options trading, forex trading in school. Like, my parents are paying money for me to learn these things. And then I come back and this guy had taught himself this and he was making money from it. So, we have intellectual respect for each other, right? So I think that's why our partnership works and will continue to work. We both know and are very clear about what we bring to the table and what our partner brings to the table. We don't even clash because we're both very aware of what the other's skills are, right? There was no clash, for instance, over who should come and do this interview, right? Because, I talk like I'm being paid. right? And yet, you know, if, for instance, we were in a marketing meeting about what marketing strategy to take, my opinions are valid and my intelligence is recognized. However, he is the marketing genius, right? And then if we're talking about the financial side of the product, right? Like that's me. Yeah. So we're both very clear on what the other brings, right? And yeah,
there's that mutual respect.
There's that mutual respect and lack of toxic competition, because I think sometimes toxic competition becomes the issue with, especially new partnerships, right? Like, I've brought you on because I respect your intelligence, but somehow I want to show you that I am more intelligent than you, or I want to show you that I am better than you and you are my subordinate or whatever. Like and it's actually how we run the organization, not just the two of us, but all our employees will vouch for this, that if we bring you on and we tell you that we respect your expertise in this field, then in that field we will defer to you. Even in those meetings, you are the head. It doesn't matter that I'm the CEO or Rizzi is the CEO. In that meeting, you are the leader of the meeting, and we're here to listen to you and support you and your vision for how that department should run. Yeah. So yeah, it's about picking competent people and respecting them and giving them space to do their work.
Okay. I had a question on how to be an amazing CEO, but I feel like through this conversation we've actually preempted it. But if you could just give someone out there, you know, a CEO, any 3 tips, what are those? Just to add on to, you know, what you just shared.
3 tips for how to be a good CEO.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think what we just talked about, that's a great tip. Empower your team to make the decisions and do the work that they need to do, right? Whenever you employ people and then micromanage, you're showing them that you don't trust them to do what they need to do, right? So for me, I would rather give you an assignment and I ask you, how long is this going to take you to do? And you tell me 2 weeks. When do you want to be checked on? / do you want me to check on you, or should we have a meeting after the 2 weeks are done, right? And I would rather we get to those 2 weeks and you haven't done the work, but I gave you the room to do the work, right? I would rather we get there and you haven't done the work and then you tell me why you didn't do the work, than check on you every day and nag you into...
Nag the creativity out of you.
Exactly, right, right? So yeah, I think as a CEO, you need grace. You need grace for your team. Let them operate how they operate. Let them work how they work. If you have doubt that they are going to deliver, then you probably shouldn't have hired them, right? Because again, then that falls back on you. And then the other thing that I find myself doing, very many times I'm in meetings with my team and I project competence and intelligence by just asking the right questions, right? Very many times CEOs think they have to have all the answers. My leadership style is not the one with all the answers. It's the one with the most poignant question, like, what is the issue with all of this? Like, we come up to a new project, we come up to a new strategy or a new design, and you have, as the CEO or as the team lead, you have to find the right questions that get at the crux of the problem, right? Like, what is the set of questions that will expose the hidden issue here, or will bring to light what cannot be seen, right? So you almost have to approach it like a philosopher or an interrogator, trying to get at the truth, right? It is your job to help your team see the truth, right? By asking the questions that need to be asked, right? And if there's a question that gets asked and no one knows the answer to that, no one knows, then you know that's where we should, that's where we should be spending most of our resources.
Okay.
Right?
Now I'm curious, how did you exercise this leadership style of yours?
how did I exercise
Yeah,
this
how do
leadership
you
style?
harness it? Because it may come naturally to you, but maybe for some people it's like, okay, because it sounds like a good way to lead people. And I mean, we are here talking about Lupiiya Books that shows it's effective.
Right.
So how does someone tap that out of them?
I think first you have to be sincere with yourself about what you know and what you don't know, right? Like, so you yourself as the entrepreneur, you need to know yourself. Self-awareness, my friends hate hearing this, but self-awareness is the God that I worship, right? Like, know thyself, and then you can know everything else. So for me, it comes from not having any insecurity about who I am, what I bring to the table, and what I know, right? So if I don't know what you're talking about, if I had to have a meeting with you, let's say we're having a meeting about the media arm of Lupiiya Books, Lupiiya TV, right? And you're throwing all of these very intelligent, very important arguments and buzzwords at me. I am not above saying, okay, stop, let's go back to the beginning. What does this mean? What does this mean? And, you could leave that meeting thinking I'm an idiot, right? I don't know anything. But I will leave the meeting knowing more than I did when we got there, right? So it's about being confident in your own knowledge and ability, and then also being humble enough to raise your hand when you don't understand, right? I think it's something I've always something I've always done since I was a kid. In school, when a teacher says something you don't understand, and the teachers encourage kids to ask questions.
To ask the questions.
If you don't understand, ask a question. And most kids, they're afraid to tell or to show that they don't understand, right? So there's this insecurity about their intelligence. I was always the kid who was like, I know I'm intelligent, so if I'm not understanding what you're saying, you're not doing your job. You're not explaining it right. Like, I would hold class like hostage.
Oh my God, yeah.
I would hold my entire classroom hostage. Like, we're not moving on until I understand that. Right? So yeah, I think it's just a muscle I've been flexing for a very long time. Yeah, but it's never too late, right? Just and also be engaged, right? It's very easy to think that you understand what people are saying when you're not fully engaged. But if you're really engaged, like, I have this issue, I can't multitask, right? Like, if I'm here having a conversation with you, the world could be burning outside and I will not notice it because I am trying to like
be as engaged as can
be. Right? And if you're engaged, then you will always know what the right questions to ask are, right? It's like it's like I don't know. It's like having let's say going on a date and you're talking to somebody and they tell you they don't know what, like, I'm an open book. Ask me a question, and they tell you they have no questions for you. They have nothing to ask you. That means they're not listening to you. It doesn't mean they're fully satisfied with with your presentation of yourself. It means they were not listening, right? So if you're really engaged, you will usually know what the right questions to ask are. And that's, for me, the beginning of my leadership. I begin from a point of curiosity, not, I don't know, arrogant showboating. I don't know. Yeah, but it comes from curiosity. For me, yeah.
And speaking of being engaged, people are like, oh, you are you always just come to collect. You're not there with us when we're starting out and we're growing and things like that, right?
Right.
And, why we're having this show is to make sure that, we're actually, it's not the best way, but it's the start.
Yeah.
We could start with the conversations and build our way to supporting.
Right. I mean, conversation is important. I think it's the best way to start. Yeah.
Yes.
Create a space for conversations to be had. Yeah. I'm on good terms with some of the the case agents that call us to ask for us to file our taxes and stuff like that. However, there's still been a few hiccups here and there. Like, for instance, you're a pre-revenue company, okay, and URA is emailing you with an estimate of tax. and you're a pre-revenue company.
And you're like, why? Are you
Yeah,
doing
like
this?
we've filed nil every year. Where's this tax estimate coming from, right? And you see, I think for us it's because maybe, yeah, when those things do happen, we actually do the follow-up and we listen to, or we respond to the call from the URA rep to go in for a meeting, right? So it doesn't escalate.
That's like a really good thing, because for most people they'll be like, oh, they'll either get scared or they will not reach out.
Right,
and
right.
It's really a conversation.
Right. But you see, that stigma does come from somewhere, right? It's not entirely unfounded.
Okay.
So I think it would be prudent for URA to investigate the source of that stigma, right? Because what's URA's biggest issue right now? I would say the brand image would be the issue. Consumer confidence.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
That analogy we were talking about earlier, that you're leading with the stick instead of the carrot. Right? So I think that's the issue. My business partner says it's, have you watched the movie Catch Me If You Can?
Yes.
Like that old Leonardo DiCaprio classic?
Yeah.
Right?
I have seen it.
That's what my business partner says interacting with URA is like. It's like, hey, I'm going to start running. If you can catch me, you catch me and I'll give you your taxes. Right? And yet that's not how it should be.
Yeah, that's not how
right?
it should be,
If people identified URA as an agency of support and change and like that was adding value to their businesses, and paying taxes was adding value to their businesses, I think the relationship would be very, very different. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Also those estimates, man. Where do those estimates come from?
The estimates. We get that complaint quite a bit, and we're working on it. We are working on it.
Partner with Lupiya Books and get real time.
Shoot your shot.
Yeah.
Your moment.
Get real time. Get real time accounting and bookkeeping data from small businesses, right?
Okay.
Because when you estimate, what does that look like, right? It looks like it looks like daylight robbery. It looks like fraud, right? And when you estimate, you're also leaving a lot of money on the table.
That's true. Yeah,
right?
That's true.
You'll find that you're overestimating for the person who probably didn't make that much money, and you're underestimating for the one who did make that much money.
Yeah.
So the one who didn't make that much money, you've lost their confidence, because they're like, there's no way that's the amount of money I owe. You guys are not paying attention, or you're just, it's daylight robbery. And even the person who made a lot of money, they're like, these guys are incompetent.
These guys are jokers.
Yeah, these guys are jokers. Look at how much they're charging me in tax. So even they lose confidence in your competence and ability. So it's not benefiting either side. I think the estimate system is not working.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
And I can sit here and confidently say that because I have a solution to that. Yeah. And especially with the demographic we're targeting, right? We're targeting small businesses, startups, right? Small to medium enterprises, what they're called, SMEs, right? And, it's very unlikely that, say, Serena Hotel will not declare its taxes, or MTN or UBL, right?
Yeah.
Those guys, they're probably paying all the tax they should be paying, right? It's the small businesses, it's the startups, it's the jewelry business, it's the craft shop in the corner. It's those guys who need our product, and it's those guys who URA needs to stop estimating for, right?
Okay.
To win their confidence and win their trust.
Okay. Yeah. That is good feedback. That is good feedback.
Work with me.
That is good feedback. It will be relayed to the right people.
If Mr. Msinguzi is paying attention, yes.
Now is the time.
Now is the time. We should have a meeting.
And you know, baby steps. We'll get there.
Okay.
And just one last question. Second last question.
Okay.
If you were an MP, or if you
I hate politics.
You hate politics? I feel like you would make a good.
Everyone
MP.
saes that.
You would.
Everyone says
no
that.
Doubt.
But you see, I told you I'm impact driven, and I don't see. Let me not.
Okay.
Let me not be too honest. But I don't see myself being very impactful in politics.
Okay.
Yeah, but please ask the question. Hypothetically, yes, ask the question.
If you are in that space, and what would you do different, or how would you improve or support the startup sector in Uganda? What would you do? Like, you had all the power in the world, in the country, to make any changes.
How would I improve the startup sector?
Yes.
Access to funding. Whatever my solution would be, it would be around improving access to financing. Because I have to tell you, Priska, the rest of the world is leaving us behind, and that is the thing that they're leaving us behind on. That in the US, this thing that has taken me 10 years to build without funding, because in Africa, we're still investing based off of proof of work, right? So you have to show proof of work to attract investment. In the US, it's proof of concept.
Okay.
Like, so I literally just have to bring you an elevator pitch, 2 pages long, if even, right? And you look at it, you look at my numbers, you do your own due diligence if you want, and then you put money on the table, right? And yes, sometimes that money does go to the wrong organizations, institutions, enterprises. But if I was in political office, that is a comfortable risk I'm willing to take.
Okay.
As long as I know that even 50% is ending up in the hands of high impact entrepreneurs, right?
Okay.
Yeah, access to funding is the biggest issue. It is the biggest issue. And it used to be the biggest issue for us as a continent. But I'm starting to see trends of Kenya, South Africa, Nigeria, Ghana, Morocco. These countries have figured it out, right? So Uganda is now being left behind, not just by the West, but by our neighbors.
Okay.
Very soon, and it has already started, the brain drain from Uganda to Kenya, right? It has already started because Ugandan labor is cheap, even though it's highly qualified, right? It's cheap. But there's a lot of capital in Kenya. Capital is going to startups in Kenya at a rate of maybe for every $1 we're getting here, they're getting 100. So it's crazy. It's actually crazy. And it's why this is what is the solution my business is solving, because that's the thing that's increasing the gap, right? I have friends I went to school with in the US who have mediocre ideas compared to this one. And they're already millionaires. Why? Because they had the idea, wrote a white paper, and produced a prototype, and they got $100 million in capital, right? I'm not saying give me $100 million, but I'm saying can we streamline the path to funding, right?
Okay.
That's you see how we've even built our app in levels. It's part of what we're trying to do: streamline the path to funding. That if you can do this, do this, do this, the money is there. Not do this, do that, do this, then let's hope and pray. Right? Yeah. If we can streamline the path, right? So that the people who are doing the work are guaranteed access to capital. If the people who are actually doing the work can raise capital, then the Ugandan SME industry looks different. But what was the last big funding deal done in Uganda for a startup in this country, where it raised millions of dollars? I'm thinking maybe that was Safe Border, right? But not every startup is Safe Border. Not every startup can be Safe Border. Not everyone can be Hello Food. I don't know if you remember Hello Food, right? Bought by Jumia. Yeah. Like, those are the only deals that you can look at and say, yeah, that's a situation where, and yet, if Hello Food was in Kenya, if Safe Border was in Nigeria, which it is now, but if Safe Border had launched in Nigeria, they would have attracted a lot more money than they did.
Starting out here.
Right? Yeah. Look at our capital markets, right? Look at our stock exchange. How many companies are listed there?
Reinventing social finance was never going to be an easy journey in Africa.
But with people like Julius Kakwenzire, the co-CEO of Lupiya Books, we are moving significant strides. So Julius, thank you for coming on the show, and thank you for sharing so generously of yourself, of your wisdom, of your experience. We are very honored to having had you on the Taxman's Telly. We look forward to having you again and again and again. And to our viewers, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for holding us down. Thank you for being part of Once to a Journey thus far. We look forward to having you again in the next episode. Thank you and bye-bye.
Uganda Revenue Authority. Developing Uganda together.